it is a Torah reader's nightmare. Why? And by the way, I've got this job this year to do it because we can't share the reading. Normally, I would share it with Michael Popper. But this year, it's fallen completely to me because we're not allowed to share the same Sefer Torah. Those are the rules. And so for my sins, I don't know what I did wrong during the year, but I have to do it. And it's probably the most difficult reading of the year. It is very difficult because there's who's and he's and all this type of thing. It really is difficult to do. The two Sedrot deal, when they're as one unit, they deal with the intricate laws of Tzora'at. Tzora'at was an affliction of the skin. Now, if you look into some Chumashim, it sometimes translates it as leprosy, but it wasn't actually that. It's not a modern day leprosy, but what it was a physical manifestation of a spiritual malady. Say that again. Physical manifestation of a spiritual malady, something that was wrong inside ourselves on a spiritual level, manifests itself in a physical way. Indeed, the rabbis catalog a whole plethora of sins that caused the tzora'at. What is it? Examples: haughtiness, arrogance, and especially they mention lashon hara. Lashon hara is gossip. And that means also generally speaking negatively against people, even if it might be true. We have to be careful about what we say, and we have to be careful about how we speak about people. Indeed, the rabbi said that the word metzora itself, which means the person who is afflicted with this leprosy, is a contraction of three words: motzi shem ra, metzora, motzi shem ra, which means bringing out a bad name, bringing out the bad name. Indeed, there is a deep connection. We think of Miriam, who in Parshat Behalotecha was afflicted with tzora'at after speaking negatively against her brother Moshe, and all Bnei Israel had to stay 7 days until she was in the state of tahara, of purity. Indeed, the Torah in Parshat Kedoshim next week, well, it's actually Montan Kedoshim, double Seder also, he says like this: Lo telech rachil ba'amecha, do not be a talebearer amongst your people. There's a negative prohibition about speaking and going around as a gossip amongst one's people. So you have to be very, very careful how we speak. And we're all sort of like a little bit guilty of this, but and newspapers and social media thrives on this gossip, negativity about people. But towards the end of Tazria, I want to point out, tomorrow, double Sedra, the Torah deals with a malady of negat tzara'at, which was to be found on one's home in Eretz Israel. Can you imagine that? You have we're talking about all these strands of coronavirus, and we hear about them in the news every day. This strand was coming from Brazil, this one's coming from South Africa, and you've got the Kent one. I don't know what difference it makes, but apparently it does. But there could have been a strain that actually went into the houses. It says the Torah, Ki tavo el eretz Canaan, when you come to the land of Canaan, which I'm going to give to you, I will place a tzaras affliction in your house. That's what it says. Very interesting. Read it. Very interesting. You can look at the hurts or whatever chumash you're looking at. You'll come to the land. I'll be the one, right? Hashem says, who will give it to you, says Hashem. Yet there will be negat. I'll give you the land, but there will be negat tzara'at. There will be this tzara'at affliction in your houses. And Vayikra Rabbah, which is quoted by Rashi, says that the Canaanim living in the land, hearing that the Israelites were coming to the land because they were in the midbar, they were in the wilderness at the time during those 40 years, they hid their money. The Canaanites, they hid the money and their treasures in their houses. So when the Bnei Yisrael had this sorrow, they had affliction in their homes, and they weren't able to get rid of it, they would, in extremity, in extreme cases, they have to pull down their very houses. And when they would do that, they would find the treasures, the hidden money of the previous occupants of the Canaanites who had been in that particular house. Very interesting laws that it says about this. My friends, we celebrated this past week Yom HaAtzmaut. Indeed, actually, this coming Shabbat, it's actually the Hey Iyar, it's actually the 5th of Iyar, but we never have Yom HaAtzmaut on Shabbat because the celebrations don't want to cause Chilul Shabbat, profanation of Shabbat, so we always bring it forward 1 or 2 days, so we brought it over to Thursday. So we celebrated Yom HaAtzmaut, and it's an opportunity to give our appreciation, our Hakarat HaTov, for the fact that Hashem has given us this land and the miracles that have been involved in that. Yet, with that bracha comes, unfortunately, the ups and downs that are part of Israel. The ups and downs of life, the negat tzara'at, the afflictions that have come, that we have had since the Hakamat HaMedina, the establishment of the state. You think of the walls, and you see the terrorist atrocities and the sorrows that many that we've been afflicted within the land. But then you see the bracha. But we must never lose sight of that treasure. And the treasure is the Medinat Yisrael, the beautiful land. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. Now I hand over to you, Morris. Could you pin yourself? Morris, are you there?
Well, just spotlight me there. That'll do the job. I just need to screen share as well.
Let me see if I can allow you to screen share. Here we go. I'm good. Yeah, but I'm spotlighted. I want you to be spotlighted. Hold on. Let me find you. I need to. Can we somehow or other spotlight you?
Remove your spotlight, Rabbi. First.
I've done it. I've done it already. I'm removed. I've got to find him. That's the trouble. There he is. I found him. Sorry, found him.
I didn't know I was lost.
Yeah, sorry. There was spotlight for everyone. I don't think it actually makes much. There it is. Isn't that wonderful? There's a picture. Lovely. This is nice. Go on.
Last week, we marked Yom HaShoah, a day of commemoration for the 6 million Jews who perished in the Holocaust. Included in this was my father's family. It was also the week we celebrated the birthday of 2 of my grandchildren, Noah and Adi. Wednesday was Yom HaZikaron, commemorating the fallen soldiers of the State of Israel, one of whom was my cousin Mickey. Yesterday, as well as being Yom HaAtzmaut, was the birthday of my daughter Ruth. I'd like to dedicate this talk to all of them. Well, what's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. The land between the River Jordan and the Mediterranean Sea has been inhabited for millennia. That much is indisputable. Jericho, Jerusalem, Jaffa, and Jenin are some of the oldest cities in the world, having been continuously settled since before 2000 BCE. Oh, hang on. However, just about everything else about this land is contentious, right down to the name. There can be few, if any, countries which have had more names than that strip of land. Typically, but not exclusively, and in no particular order, Canaan, the Levant, Palestine, Prima, Secunda and Tertia, Judea, Terra Santa, the Holy Land, and according to a French ambassador, that tiny country at the east end of the Mediterranean. There are 2 primary sources for the name of this area, archaeology and the Bible. Whilst there are differences between the two, archaeologists and historians agree that in general, the narrative of the Bible is correct. Canaanites ruled the Levant before being pushed out by the ancient Hebrews, who then fought with the Philistines until invading empires conquered both tribes. The name Palestine first appeared in Herodotus' 5th century BCE histories to describe the coastal area of the Levant where the Philistines lived. Following the suppression of the Bar Kokhba revolt in 132 CE, the Romans applied the word Palestine to the whole of the land, and subsequent rulers identified it as such. The name Judea comes from the Kingdom of Judah, one of the successor states to the biblical united monarchy, which ruled all of ancient Israel. Founded in 934 BCE, the kingdom ruled the lands from Jerusalem to Beersheba until its conquest in 586 BCE by the Neo-Babylonians. Although the kingdom was destroyed, the name survived with the Jewish people. And when an independent kingdom once again re-emerged in 140 BCE, the land was referred to as Judea. This name even survived the Roman conquest of the kingdom. And the Roman province, which was created from much of the former kingdom, bore the name Judea. The people of Judea, however, did not appreciate Roman rule. No surprise there then. And the Jewish inhabitants revolted many times, necessitating the deployment of huge armies. After the Bar Kokhba revolt, the Romans changed the name of the province itself as part of their efforts to suppress Jewish nationalism, and therefore the name Palestine struck. Israel is an even older name than Judea, found in the Bible. Then the angel said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with Hashem and with humans and have overcome." The name Israel was therefore identified with the tribes of the kingdom of Israel, which Jacob's descendants founded, and came to be synonymous with Judea before being replaced by it. The first instance of a widespread use of the name in the modern era was during the British Mandate. Whilst the official name in English was the Mandate for Palestine, on official documents written in Hebrew, the name would include the initials for Eretz Yisrael. This, combined with the fact that the name Judea was associated with lands which mostly were not included under the partition plan of 1947, resulted in the name of the new Jewish state, Medinat Yisrael, the State of Israel. In a different situation, this would be merely a debate over semantics. Lebanon, the Levant, Canaan, Judea, Philistine, Palestine, Israel, they would all be different names for the same place. However, the name Palestine was associated with first the Philistines and then the area in which they lived. In contrast, the Jewish people are historically connected to the names of Judea and Israel. Well, what's in a name? When we have children, we agonize long and hard about their name. Which name should be adopted? What is the meaning of the name? How will it be understood by others, and so on? It's fair to assume that Hashem, in naming his chosen people, would have considered the name he bestowed on Jacob with great care. Thus, throughout the Bible, the Jewish people are known as the children of Israel. However, the name Israel refers to both the land and the people and is deeply significant. In Devarim, we are told, "Thou shalt speak and say before the Lord, a wandering Aramean was my father, and he went down to Egypt and sojourned there, few in number, and that he became a nation, great, mighty, and populous." This is reflected in the name of Israel. It begins with the smallest letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Yad, the wandering Aramean, Yitzchak, Jacob, and concludes with the largest letter, Lamed, a nation great, mighty, and populous. This contrast alludes to both the humble origins as well as its development. The art, science of gematria is used to assign a numeric value to a letter, and so we build a value for a word. This is used to identify links between words and ideas. Using simple gematria, the value for Israel is 64. Using the same approach, the value for Zion is 64. Linking, as we do in the Bible, Israel with Zion. Additionally, the name Israel contains an acronym for every one of our spiritual ancestors, the three patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the four matriarchs, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. When we talk about Israel, we are talking about the land itself, our forebears, and our covenant with Hashem. That's it. Thank you. Happy birthday, Israel, and Shabbat Shalom.
Wow, thank you so much. Hold on, let me come off. There we are. That was really lovely. Thank you. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Yes,
Yeah.
good. Okay, so I'm now going to thank you very, very much, Morris. That was really beautiful. I like the graphics, really lovely, and the screen on the screen share. That's a nice, lovely thing. Nice touch. I'm now going to hand over to David Harris, who is our cousin for this week. We look forward to hearing from you. Here we go. Hello, David.
Right. Yeah.
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 Go. All ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a screen share with everybody here from our NCSY Siddur. We're going to start from Yedid Nefesh, Yud Hey Vav Hey, from Rabbi Elazar Ezekri, and we're going to hear from David. Are you there, David?
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm still here. Yes.
Okay. Fine.
Ready to start?
We're starting from Yedid Nefesh.
Okay. Should we start? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yedid nefesh avarachamam mishloch avdecha el ritzonecha yarutz avdecha kemo hayal yishtachavem chadarecha Yaravla Yedidadecha Minafetzuf V'choltam Adonai Zivalam Nafshi cholat Avatecha Anayna Rafana Aratla Namdiva As Titrazek V'titrafek V'ayetala Simchat Olam Vatik Yemuna Rachamecha V'chusana Abeinahu V'cha Ki Zechama Nichsafti L'Rabbi Ferhat Ruzecha Chamda libi v'chusana v'yam yigalena ufres chavivi alai etzuchat shalomecha Taireres michvadecha Nagila v'nismacha bach Ma'erev kivamoed v'choneinu kimelam Yadai nai nai nai, yadai nai nai nai, yadai nai nai nai, yam bam bam bai, yadai nai nai nai, yadai nai nai nai, yadai nai nai nai, yadai nai nai, yadai nai nai nai, yadai nai nai nai, yadai nai nai nai, yam nai nai nai. Yada nine 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 nine. Yada nine 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 nine. Nine 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 nine. Yada nine 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 nine. Yada nine 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 nine. Lachun ran al Adonai, Nariya letzur yishaynu, Kadma pana betoda, Bizmirot Nariya Shelo yam v'hu asav yaveshet yadav yazaru Im rivyagiyam asaba mibashe nisuni avoteichem b'chanuni garam Arbaim shana aku bedor v'amam to'ele v'avheim V'aim lo yadu derachai asher nishbati bi'api imron al menuchati shiru l'Adonai shir chadash shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz shiru l'Adonai baruch hu shemo pasru miyom leyom yeshuato sapru bagoyim kavodo b'chol ha'amim nifleotav ki gadol Adonai u'mulal me'od norahu al kol Elohim nai ki kol Eloi ha'amim elilim v'adon ha'shamayim asa hod ve'hadap le'efanav Ozer tiferet b'mikdasho havu l'Adonai mishpachot amim havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz havu l'Adonai kavod shemo sayu mincha uvoru lechatrotav nai ishtachavu l'Adonai behadra kodesh chilu mipanav kol haaretz imru v'agoyim Adonai malach aftikon tevel ba'al timot yadinam min b'nei sharim Yisma shamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam u'melo yalo sadai v'chol asher bo nai az yirananu kol atzeyar lifnei Adonai ki iva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel b'tzedek V'yamim b'emunato yanai yam bam 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 bay Adonai malach tagel haaretz Adonai ki atadnu kol haaretz miyonu kol avim have Adonai sinura shomer nafshot chasidav miyad rashayim yatzileim Hazarat tzadik u'lishrolev simcha tzadikim b'Adonai v'hodu lezecher kapsho mizmor shir l'Adonai shel chadash Zamnu Adonai b'chino Yiram hayamu melo Tevel v'yosheva Naharot yimchachu chaf Yachad harim yeraneinu lifnei Adonai Ki yivalit lishpat haaretz Yishpat tevel b'tzedek V'yamim b'meisharim Adonai malach yigzu amim yashimcha V'shavanu b'kohanav V'shmuel v'korim shemo Korim el Adonai v'hu yanem Amud anan Yedaber aleihem Shamru edotav V'chok natan lamo Adonai Eloheinu Ata nitam Enosei hayita lahem V'nokeim ala lilatam Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtakavu lahakodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Mizmor leDavid Havul Adonai b'nelim Havul Adonai Kavod v'ozaynai Havul Adonai Kavod shemo Ishtachavu Adonai b'hadrat kodesh Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod yirim Adonai al mayim rabim Kol Adonai Ba'koach Hayayay Kol Adonai Ve'ada Kol Adonai Shoer Arazim Vayishaber Adonai Et Arzei HaLevanon Vayarkidem K'mo Regel Lavanon V'Sirion Come on, venre mimainai Kol Adonai chotzev lahavot ish Kol Adonai yachil midbar yachil Adonai midbar kadesh Kol Adonai yicholei layalot vayechasov yarot Uvehechalot kulo omer kavo yainai Adonai lama bu yashava yeshev Adonai melech leolam Adonai es leamo yitein Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom L'chadodi l'krakala P'nei Shabbat nekabla L'chadodi l'krakala P'nei Shabbat nekabla Shamar v'zachor B'dibur echad ishmiyanu Elam yuchad Adonai echad U'shmo echad l'shem multiferet v'letila L'chadodi l'krakala P'nei Shabbat nekabla L'krat Shabbat l'chuv melech ki mekar Ha'baracha me'rosh mikatam Nasu chasof maseh Mashavet echila L'chadodi l'krakala P'nei Shabbat Kabbalah Mikdash Melechim Eluchaku Mitzahi Mitoch Afecharav Lakshevet Yemek Abacha V'hu Yachamo Allah Yichem La L'chadodi l'krakala Pnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah, if Narim Me'afagoni, if Shebigdei Tifartecha Al Yad Ben Yishai, Beit Halachmi, Karva El Nafshi, Geyala. Lechadodi likrakala, Pnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah, it orei kiva, ore kumi ore shir daveri kavod Adonai, alayich nigla, Lechadodi likrakala, Pnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah. Nananai lo tevoshi velo tikomi matish dochachi nai unatami nananai bach yachasu ani yami v'nivnata tila lechadodi likrakala Nananai Bnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah, Lechadodi likrakala. Bananai Bnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah. V'hayulim shisa shosayich ayanai v'rochaku kol mavalayich. Yasis alayich Elohayich Kim Sodchatam Nalkala Hailachadodi Likrakala Yom Vananai Bnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah Hailachadodi Likrakala Bananai Bnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah Mananai Yaminusmo Tifratzi V'yet Adonai Nai Taritzi Bananai Al Yadish Ben Parsi V'nismachai nai v'nagila lechadodi likrakala Bananai Bnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah lechadodi likrakala Bananai Bnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah I believe the shalom, Ateret Bala, I gam b'simcha uvetzala. Toch emunei, am segula, I ba'ichala, lechadodi likrakala Yamananai Bnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah lechadodi likrakala Yamananai Bnei Shabbat ne Kabbalah.
Okay, David, would you like to share with us another extra song? Or
I think I'll pass on that one. I'll leave it for next time.
okay, let's go for the Yigdal, shall we?
Yep, let's go for the Yigdal. I think that's plenty.
And when it comes to the last two verses, everybody unmute yourselves and join in. And I know it's going to be a bit noisy, but you know. Okay, we'll just do it for that part, but not for the beginning verses.
Yeah, Yigdal, and I think that's enough.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach Nitzav b'einei tam tzioto Echad v'yachid k'yichudo Ne'lam v'gam ein sof li'achduto Elad amudagov v'yein aguf Lo na'aroch elav kedushato קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון בין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם בכל מצר, יורק גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא גם ישראל כמשה, נביא ומביט את תמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לי המורל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יכל לפעל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, סופר ויודע סתרנו, מביט לזאת דבר בקדמתו, גומר לאיש חסד רק רשעתו, ישרת לבצעים Make the fire of custom, I will convey our change in my God. In the fire of custom, I will convey our change in my God.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Fantastic.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Thank you, Morris.
Thank
Lost Morris. Where has he gone?
Who here?
We recognize the
That's not my, that's not everybody.
feud.
From Howard. Shabbat Shalom. Howard, we wish you long life.
Thank you.
Long life, Howard.
Thank you.